Brenda Quintana, and today I'm going to show you how to make a cute little box using the Celebrate Sunflowers bundle. And we're also going to be using the mini paper pumpkin boxes. And I have we've had these for a couple months now, and I hadn't had a chance to pull them out yet. And I had just baked some cookies the other day, and I was like, this would make the perfect cookie box because they are food safe. So I love that about them. So I am going to show you how I decorated up these boxes, and I also have a recipe for you, which I'll be sharing with my email list subscribers. I made chocolate chip pretzel cookies. And I love the play with the sweet and the salty, and so it's kind of nice to have that flavor. Now, I did adapt the recipe from an existing recipe, but I made a lot of changes to it. But I have on my recipe, I have full credit for the recipe, the original recipe that I adapted it from, because it is different measurements and stuff like that. But I always kind of like to have a starting point, and I tend to change things around. Like, I don't put as much sugar generally as the recipe calls for, so I reduce the sugar and added in the pretzels, and I just love them. They're so good. Anyway, the little box that I'm going to show you how to make today, the cookies are inside, so I don't want to tip this too much. Let's see. Okay, so here's the box. And it starts off, these boxes start off completely white, and I didn't want a white box because white in fall, it's just too bright, and I wanted kind of a brown color. And you can kind of see I sprayed these boxes, and I'm going to spray the one I do for you today too. I spritzed them with our little spritzers and some ink refill, and you can see that the color is, it is smooth, but it's speckled, and I love that. It's so much fun to get a little bit of texture, a little bit of difference in the color in there. So it's perfect for fall. The neat thing about this technique that I'll share with you in a moment is that you can use it for whatever color you want. I used early espresso ink, but you can choose whatever ink refill that you want, and it will give that color. Now, I wanted it a light intensity, but you could definitely always do darker. So I will share with you how to do that. And then, of course, I have my little project sheet. I printed that one out, and I also have a separate recipe sheet, which I didn't print out because I ran out of toner and I didn't have time to change it before this tutorial. So, but it will be sent out tomorrow, which is Saturday, to all my email list subscribers. And if you want to get on my email list, it's perfectly free. Just click down below in the description of this video. There's a link there that will take you to where you can subscribe. If you're already a subscriber, you're going to get this. You don't have to subscribe again. You can't even subscribe again, so you will just get it on Saturday. All right, I am going to switch over my camera, and I am going to show you how we're going to do this. All right, I've got a lot of tools right here in front of me. Let's talk first about Celebrate Sunflowers. This is the bundle I'm going to be using. It has a stamp set and a die set, and I am using both of them for this. You definitely need the die set for this. And I did a card earlier this week. Let me just show you. Well, actually, I did two cards. I only showed one of them. Here's one of the cards I made earlier this week, and this one has the stamp with the die. So I think this is definitely a bundle where you will want to get both because they do play so nicely together. There's so many different ways to create this sunflower, and today I'm kind of using the die cut method to create the sunflower instead of the stamped method. I think it looks really nice on top of this box. It's very bold and bright, so I really felt like it needed that die cut flower. So whenever you buy a bundle, you save 10% when you buy them together, as opposed to if you're buying them separately. These are the mini paper pumpkin boxes. And if you're not familiar with Paper Pumpkin, it is our subscription art kit that comes in the mail once a month. And this, a larger version of this, is what you get in the mail. This is a mini paper pumpkin box. So it's a box like this, and it comes in the mail. So I just pulled one out right here to show you. This box has two sides to it. It has a smooth side. This side is food safe, so that's why you can put the cookies directly into the box. It's perfectly food safe. And then on the back side, there's a rough, porous side that is good for stamping on and also spritzing on. So we'll take care of that in a moment. So first, let me just set this aside. We're also going to be using our little Stampin Spritzer, which is, here's one, and you need ink refill because we're going to put this into some rubbing alcohol that I have right here. And I just got this rubbing alcohol, and I really like the fact that it's got this little, this smaller sort of spout. Some of my other ones in the past have just, you know, been screw off, but this one allows me to get the alcohol right into here. So I'm going to just set this aside for a moment and set this aside. Let's just screw this off, and I'm going to show you. You want to fill your little bottle. There's a logo on here. I'm going to try and fill it right to the bottom of the logo. Sometimes I get a little bit more in, so let me see if I can fill this up. Oh, that was definitely not enough. Let's see. Last time I overshot, so I'm just being really cautious this time. Come on. A little bit more. Okay, so I've got this filled about halfway. Just gonna take a tissue and dry this off because I spilled a little bit. I am using 70% alcohol. I could not get the more potent alcohol, which I think is in the 90%. So I didn't get a chance to try it with 90% alcohol, but it will probably work the same with 90% alcohol. It might actually work better with 90% alcohol because it will dry faster because this one doesn't have as much alcohol in it. It doesn't dry quite as fast. So I'll show you a little trick that I use to circumvent that problem. Let me just set this aside for a moment. Okay, so I've got this about halfway full of water. I was aiming to be just under the logo, and this is just kind of partway through the logo on the side of the container, which is about halfway full. Okay, and then I'm going to take some ink refill, and I'm going to just count. I'm going to do 5 drips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then I'm going to put this on here and screw this. Make sure it's screwed tight, and then I'm going to give it a little shake. Want to make sure that the colors evenly distributed. I'm using a very dark refill, so I don't have to use as much of it. Now, definitely protect your work surface because this is a messy little thing. So I got a piece of packing paper here, and I'm just going to put this down here like this. I'll try and put most of it on here. You might want to test this out like on a little scrap piece. Let me get a little scrap piece of paper here. Do one little spritz on a scrap piece before you go on to, I had to clean this morning with water, so the first spritz is clear. Okay, so now I've got some ink coming out. So now I'm going to start spritzing. You want to hold it a little bit away, at least I'm doing about 8 inches. All right. So you can see there's some variation in the color, and it's not completely dark brown. There's just a little bit of variation. I've got about this much left. I could keep going if I wanted to. I like the look of it. I like it not to be 100% uniform. If you wanted it more uniform, you could keep going. I'm going to just set this aside now for a second. And if, look at, you can see how much brown overspray that there was. I'm glad we protected our work surface. So now if you want to help this dry a little faster, I'm just going to take my heat tool and I'm just going to help this to dry. Now, when I was spraying it on the non-glossy side. The alcohol in the spray is also going to help it dry faster than it would if you were spritzing with water. Just trying to feel it, see if it feels, starting to feel like it's dry. Move this out of the way. So it feels pretty dry now. And then when you're ready, these little pieces right here, they come out, these 4 little pieces. That's where you tuck these little tabs into. So let me just break those out of there. And then we're just going to fold this along the score lines. I like to always spray before I fold, because if you don't, then the ink is going to run more into the folds than it is going to run into, it's not going to be as flat. So I like to do the folding afterwards. Let's see, did I get all the folds? Yeah. Okay, so then to fold this box together, you're going to, this is the lid right here with these little tabs right on this side. And you're going to bring these 2 pieces here in together, and then the sides fold in and tuck down into those little openings. I don't know if you can see that or not. They tuck right into those little openings right there. It's a very easy box to put together. Okay, and then it just tucks in like this. And there's the box. So this is it's kind of got a suede look to it. You know, I don't know, I just love this for a fall box, and it's a great color as a backdrop to many different projects, kind of like a dull brown color, because you want the other things that you put on the box to serve as the wow of the project, not the box itself. So there is the box, and now let's decorate it up. So I'm going to start by creating a little banner to go across here. And I've got a piece of thick Whisper White cardstock, and it measures 5 inches by 3/4 of an inch. And I'm going to take, this punch is called Lovely Labels Pick a Punch. And I'm just going to slide this in. You can choose whichever one you want. I like to always slide in from this side. So I'm going to slide in through the 3/4 inch channel. And with this punch, I always want to double check that it actually is punching straight. And this one looks good, so I can go ahead and punch. And then I'm going to come in with my Early Espresso ink pad. And in this set, Celebrate Sunflowers, there's a Thanks a Bunch. Just going to ink this up and stamp it pretty close to the end because it's going to be coming right along there like that. I'm just going to let that rest there for a second, and then I'm going to assemble everything all at once. Oh, push this down. Open up. Okay, and now we're going to do the sunflower. And so I wanted to, this sunflower right here is made with 2 pieces. So let me just grab the dies. So this first one I ran through with some bumblebee cardstock, just like that. And then I wanted to run this one through on the video for you, just so you could see how it looks. I'm just using a piece of early espresso. Let me bring in my die cut machine. Very soon you will see me use a new die cutting machine that will be available to everyone in September, but I'll be able to get it next month. So this is the detail part of the die, and I'm just going to run this through, and then I'm going to come back. And so when I lift this off, there's my sunflower. This is the outer piece. I can throw this away. And let me just grab my take your pick tool, and I'll use that to grab the edge of the sunflower right here. This sunflower die cuts really nicely. These little pieces fall out really easily. So I really appreciate that, because some dies, oh, and you want to save this little center piece because I'm going to put that back in. So let me set that aside. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to show you this, because I wanted to show you that you want to save that little center piece. And there's a few little pieces that you could poke out here, but for the most part they all kind of come out really nicely, and that's what you're left with. Then I just want to tell you real quick too, my little trick for getting these guys off my plate is I have an old hotel key card, or maybe you have an old credit card or an old card of some sort, and you can just use it to scrape off the little pieces right into the garbage. It takes just a second, and it's so much easier than using anything else. I just scrape that right into the garbage. Very easy. Let me move this out of the way. Okay, so I've got these pieces. I've got my sunflower piece. And then I'm also going to run through my leaves. And I did this with Granny Apple Green cardstock for the bold pieces. So this one right here, I went through with Granny Apple Green cardstock twice. And then this one here, I went through with Garden Green paper. You can see it better here. Twice as well. And then these little twigs down here, I took some of our beautiful new brass foil sheets. Let me grab these. And I ran those through with these 2 pieces right here. These are the brass foil sheets. Oh, you can see my reflection. There I am. Anyway, they're just really great. A great kind of orangey gold for fall. It's perfect. And so I've got those there. And now I'm going to assemble. So for this sunflower, what I look for is this piece, this petal right here that sticks out. And I find the petal right there that sticks out. And that's how I use what I use to line everything up. And so the main thing you want to do with this one is just get some tombow here in the center. If you want your sunflower to lay flat, then hit the tips of your sunflower with a little bit of tombow as well. Or you can use our adhesive back sheets and run that through, and then you will have adhesive on the project right away. So I'm just going to line up with that little petal. and come down, make sure it lines up. Okay. And then for this little guy, there's kind of like a little piece that looks a little bit square like, and that's what it sticks out kind of, it's like a little bit of a rectangle, and that's what I use to line that up. And then I just kind of fit that back in to the spot. It's not completely round, so I have to kind of make sure I get it in there. And so there is the sunflower all pieced together. Now we just need to do the little leaves. So I'll hit the bold spots on the leaf here, and then I'll just try and hit the edges just a little bit as well. Of course, the leaves are easier to line up because they are not round. And just always make sure you're hitting the back side, otherwise your leaf won't match up properly. And then let's turn this around. Don't let me forget to show you my cookies. After this, I forgot to open the box and show the cookies. We've been enjoying these cookies for a couple of days now. They're just so good. Okay, so now I have all the pieces ready for the front of the box. So I'll start by adhering my little words because everything's going to kind of be underneath that. So make sure you have the front of the box coming the right way. And put some Tombow on here. And I'm going to put this about 1/8 of an inch to 3/8 of an inch from the edge here. And about the same distance from the side. And this is going to be covered up by a leaf, so it doesn't have to go all the way. Then what I want to do is I want to kind of line up my leaves where I'm going to place them. Stay. And kind of just see where I want to have this little guy. I think I want to do like right about here. And then I'm just going to put some dimensionals on the back of here. When I'm putting dimensionals, I'm going to put them all near the center so that I can tuck the leaves and the sprigs underneath. Okay, because if I put them right to the edges, they might interfere with the placement of the leaves. I want to have the sunflower on there first, and the leaves will be secondary to that. So let me remove the backings off of here. And then I'm just going to place this down right about there. And then let me get my leaves situated. The leaves go on first. And then I'm going to add these little golden sprigs, little brassy sprigs on here. A little Tombow. Just add a little bit of something to the box. And this one I'm going to have to cut it a little shorter. Let me get my scissors here. I'm just going to cut off one set of the leaves. Let me see if that's enough. I'm going to cut off a second set. Let's see. Yeah, that's better. And I'll just put a little bit of Tombow on these bottom leaves. Some of them are going to stick off the box, so I don't want Tombow to go all the way out. Okay. See, isn't that pretty? Sticking right off the box. And then I just wanted to add a little bit of a ribbon on here, a little bow. And so I've tied a little bow with some bumblebee in color ribbon, and that's going to go right about here. And I'm going to add, I used a little mini dimensional so that it doesn't get lost on my project. The mini dimensionals hold really well. So I'll just stick my knot right on top of a little mini dimensional. And there is the box. Now let me show you the cookies while I have a flat surface. I've got so much stuff here. Let me move that out of the way. So look at that. Each box has its own personality. Before I open this box, I'm just going to flip this. So this was the first box I made. And you can see that when you get a little too close with your spritzing, you get some darker splotches. Now that doesn't look terrible, but if you spray from further away, you get more of a smooth finish. So definitely if you don't like the look of kind of spritz blobs, keep about 8 inches to maybe even a foot away. 8 inches I think is a pretty good distance to avoid getting these blobs, so you'll get more of a smooth finish all around for that. But I love how, you know, on both of these they're kind of speckled, right? They've got a speckled sort of feel to them. So let me open this box, and here are my cookies. Oh, I've caused them to crumble because I keep moving them, but look at them. Aren't they yummy? Now, if you wanted to, you could probably use a little bit of wax paper or tissue paper, or maybe you could probably fit maybe another 1 or 2 in here, depending on how you bake them. If you use like a smaller cookie scoop, I used a medium cookie scoop. So if you used a smaller one, you could probably fit 4 cookies in here. And you could add like a little bit of wax paper so it doesn't look like they're just kind of sliding around loose, or maybe some tissue paper to add to it. But you can see these cookies, they are chocolate chip pretzel cookies. They are so good. I'll send out the recipe tomorrow. The pretzels play off the sweetness of the chocolate chips, and so they make for a nice, it's a little bit crunchy and a little bit salty, so it's just kind of a fun thing to have in a chocolate chip cookie, and I'm sure other people will appreciate it too. So those are the little cookies, and they're the boxes. Let me pop on over back to me. There I am. I hope you guys like that. If you need any of the supplies to make these boxes, or you want the Celebrate Sunflowers bundle, there's a link that will take you over to my blog, and it has a supply list, and there you can go directly to my store. A little warning for next week. Next Tuesday, our store, August 4th, our store, we're going to have a new online store. And as of that date, a lot of my links will not direct directly to the product anymore, all my old links. So I will be going in and probably doing a few of my more recent videos, and probably doing some of my more popular tutorials and redoing the supply list. But for a while, you will be directed to my store, but you won't necessarily be directed to the product. It doesn't mean that that product isn't available anymore. You just might need to like jot down the name of the product when you're going over there. And right now, there's nothing I can really do about that. I wish there were, but it just is what it is. So, but the new online store, I have seen it. It's available already in the UK and Australia, and it is fabulous. You're going to love it. You'll be able to create wish lists on the store. You're going to be able to it's going to save your store if you leave. It's not going to time out like it's done in the past. You'll be able to reset your password more easily. It's organized better. So there's so many good things about the new store. There's just going to be a little bit of a time gap between when I have a whole bunch of new tutorials that link directly to the store and the product, versus right now all my old links are just going to direct to my store rather than specifically to the product, which is a little bit of a pain, but you should be able to find the product more easily. Just keep that in mind, so you don't think that all the products that I used for the last couple months aren't available, because that's not true. Anyway, that's just a little aside. Let me go through and see if there are any comments. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon on a Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday, right? Hello, Darlene and Vera Blue and Janine and Irene and Sylvia. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Darlene says she loves the little sprigs. These sprigs are so cute. They're so easy to put on a project. And look, when you do them in metallics, it just adds a little bit of something, but it doesn't take away from the project. It kind of blends in with whatever project you have. And we also have silver foil sheets if you don't want to go with the golden, but I always love gold when it comes to sunflowers. Um, well, I don't have any questions. It's a pretty straightforward tutorial. Love these little spritzers. They're the perfect size for a project like this because you don't have to deal with a big spritzer. So you just fill up a little bit with alcohol, a few drops of reinker, and then you can go spritz and turn your boxes to whatever color that you want. And it doesn't take very long at all, and it's kind of a fun, not too messy if you protect your work surface project, but I don't do very many technique projects, but I thought today would be fun to just kind of play with that. All right, guys, I hope you have a great weekend and watch for my project sheet and my chocolate chip pretzel recipe, which will be coming to your inboxes tomorrow. All right, take care, guys. Bye-bye.